the channel today, we'll be going over my current planner stack for July and then what I'll be using for August. So I have individual setup videos slash flips of all of these planners on my channel. I'll have those linked below. And then those links will have the links to all the inserts and discount codes for each of these. It's way too much to put it all in this video. So if you're interested in like a specific insert or like the discount codes I think are always in there because I have like auto populated. But if you're interested in specific links, just click on the planner and then that'll take you to that video, and then the list will be there on like what I'm using from what shop. So I won't go into specifics. I just want to use this as an overview and talk about the system in and of itself. And then, like I said, details are in the subsequent videos. So let's go ahead and start with, so this is the current system that I'm using for July. If you've been watching my setup videos and updates for the flips, I mentioned that I am removing my medium ring agenda from my planner stack. And that's just because I think where I'm at right now, it's just too many planners, right? So this was working for the summer for the most part, and I've like bounced around, right? Like that's nothing new with different inserts, but I just don't need this planner as of right now. I think things are ultimately going to slow down a little bit more in August, so I just don't need it. And so I am going to be removing that from my system, and that's also because, and I went over it in this like specific planner video, everything that's in here, like I have a monthly view, my weekly inserts, I ended up moving that to a different planner, but everything else that's in here minus this reading log, like the projects, I ultimately have space for that in other planners. I have project inserts that I can move in the reference planner if I need to. The expenses, I'm probably going to put it in my A6. They're currently in my half letter, but I think I want to put them in the A6. I don't think I need that here. And then notes, I have that in every other planner. So right now I just don't have a full function for it. And so that's why it's ultimately getting removed. And that just happens from time to time, right? Like a lot of people can only use one planner. I like using multiples and like branching things out. So that way everything has a purpose, and then it's less overwhelming to me, surprisingly, because I know some people are like, wow, like 4 to 3 planners is very overwhelming. To me, because I can like section things out, that makes it less overwhelming because each thing has its purpose. But when they don't have a purpose, like this planner kind of doesn't have a purpose anymore, right? Then it's just, I'm going to remove it because it's not working. And then that doesn't mean I'm not going to go back to it. Like I mentioned in this video, if you saw it, I'm going to keep the setup, right? So I don't remove everything and like start fresh. Like if I do bring it back, I'll probably use those inserts, or I might just update it to make it work for whatever I need. But for now, it's just not needed. So we're going to take it out for the upcoming month. I also just stopped using it, I want to say like 1 to 2 weeks ago, when I was like more in my 8/5 and trying to make certain things work. And when I get like the sub boxes, for example, every single month, now I'm on the Cloth and Paper and Infinite Lotus. I've had the Infinite Lotus since she launched them, but I re-signed up for Cloth and Paper sub boxes. Those have new inserts coming in each week, and right now I have the sizes set for 8/5 and half letter, so I'll find more ways to use those new inserts in here, right? And then the A6 is probably just like my compact version. And like I said, it's the reference. Like I set this up to be more of a reference planner initially, like from the go. I did have weekly inserts in here when it was new because it was new and I wanted to really use it, but I've also just been loving A6 so much. I will say that I still love the FC Compact versus the personal inserts in the medium ring, and I think that's why this is still ultimately in contention. Normally, whenever I would remove this from my system, it's because the personal size inserts weren't working for me, and this time it's just because it's too much, too many planners, right? It's nothing to do with the inserts because they're the perfect size. I did find before moving to FC Compact like a size that did work, but that's when this was the reference planner. And now that I have the A6 and I like that better, I don't think I'll ever go back to personal, to be honest with you guys. I might layer them with my FC Compact inserts for the ones that I do have because I have a lot, but I, at least right now, don't see me going back to personal. I think I'll always want FC Compact over it, and then anything that I would get into personal, I liked it better in A6, so I'm just gonna keep it in A6. So we have that. And then with that, we have these planners. And so I made a decision mid-video with my A6. So let me go over what's going to be in each of these, or what's in each of these. So my GM agenda started off as my project planner at the beginning of the year. During the mid-year refresh, I focused it on like an hourly overview because it has my hourly inserts, and I always have to have an hourly insert. But I focused it on like an overview, trying to just keep like this is my true desk agenda. Like it always stays open on my desk. It's my main planner. And so because of that, and because I started putting the Infinite Lotus inserts, and because the Infinite Lotus sub box, I switched to A5 inserts. I'm getting more new inserts for this planner that I want to use, that I really like, that are actually perfect for this planner. And so that made me ultimately make this my main agenda again, which it has been my main agenda probably in about a year, because I switched to my personal rings, if you remember, I think a little bit after the mid-year refresh last year. So I've been in my personal a lot, and my A5 has always been in there because it's just a go-to size, right? But yeah, ultimately I decided to bring everything back in here, and I'm really loving it again. I'm really loving having this everything in here. I think it's just the way the inserts work. Again, I have details on each planner in those videos, but with my weekly inserts, so these are going to be my main weekly inserts. I just have my inbox tab here. This won't be here always. I just need to find my weekly one. But because I haven't used my A5, I don't know where my stuff's at, or I have used it, I should say, but because I haven't used it for my main like schedule, I don't know where like things like my bookmarks are. But I purchased these at the beginning of the year, if you saw those setups, to use for project planning, and it was way too much room and space for project planning, but they make a perfect use, or they're perfect for like all of my plans, right? And so that's something that I learned, like this has to be an overview. I can't just keep it down to one section because it's just not going to work for me. It's way too much room. But this is actually perfect. I've backdated a bit, and I think these are working well. And so this is my calendar, or my personal plans, right? Schedule overview. And then I have in this planner my work section. So this is everything regarding work. This is the section that I mentioned. This is what's normally always open. And that's just because it has my hourly, and I'm an hourly person. I want to reference things, right? And so that still hasn't changed. So this, here's where it's at on my desk. It's always in the corner, and I can just come over here, reference it. And then that's why this was a perfect overview, because since it was always open, I could see it, but I just stopped using it. Like I think you can see that here. I ended up removing the inserts mid-video for the GM because I wanted to start using them as like an update. But I went from, I saw them on the side because I'm batch filming, but I broke everything down in categories, and I liked it, but it just stopped working. Or I don't know, I think I just wanted to like focus it on something else. And so using this just for work, I think is gonna work a lot better for me. So for now, we have it like this. And so this is still all of the plans. It's not just work specific, but what's gonna be up here is gonna be work specific. And that's fine with me, to be honest with you guys. So normally I would always keep like a work, and I think this is too where I'm learning with my new job, because I started a new job recently-ish. And previous jobs, or at least in my previous job, I always wanted to keep work separate. And just based on the culture of the company and my current position, I don't feel the need to do that. I actually don't mind having everything together. And at this point, I actually kind of like keeping it all together because it's all in one spot. And so I haven't had that. Because I honestly just never had a work-life balance, and so I always try to separate work, and that's why I like kept it out. And now I finally have a good work-life balance, knock on wood. But I just see that changing, because that's something that everyone says at this company, is that it's really good for work-life balance. But because I do have like a good work-life balance, I don't mind having this in here and seeing things when it was triggering at my last job. So yeah, we have that. And so here are these inserts, and then we have my academic section, which just hasn't changed. So it's everything for my dissertation and things that I referenced. So this is the schedule, work, and academic, which are like my three main things that I do. And so that's why this is the main planner again. And then from there we have my half letter, which I like calling it my like supplemental or tactical planner. Like I normally have my main planner, and then I always have a tactical slash supplemental planner, which complements this. And the half letter is honestly, like a disc is honestly perfect for it because I love the lay flat. I mentioned in this video that I have my Louis Vuitton agenda cover that I like will store it in, but for the most part I keep it like this. So that way, like I said, when it comes to this planner, if I have it open, I can reference the planner and use them together, because that's also why I like to take things out. Let me zoom out a little bit. So that way I can use it together. So this has these weekly task inserts from Cloth and Paper, which are honestly, I'm a list-oriented person and I love using these because I can plan out each day, and it can be the most, like the smallest things, like laundry, pick up mail, different things like that. And so with my main planner, I have date sensitive things, deadlines, appointments, honestly anything like big picture, right? And then my to-do section is everything that needs to be done during the week, not necessarily when. And so what I like to do with a second planner, and why I use multiple planners, is I'll have this and then I can keep this open and then have this open right at the same time. And when I'm planning, can say, okay, I need to do this, I can do this on this day. I need to do this, I can do this on this day. And so this is ultimately why I use multiple planners, because it just helps me with like seeing it all together, and then I can ensure I have everything done. Also, if I don't put all of my appointments in here, which for the most part I think I have, but right, like I can see, okay, this is going on this day, this is going on this day. So the best day to probably do XYZ is Tuesday, Wednesday. Let's do this. And then from here I can plan out when I'm doing everything else. So again, this is just what makes sense to me. And this is what I meant with like, it helps me not get overwhelmed, because if I had all of this on one insert, I just feel like that'd be way too much and I would get so overwhelmed. And that's typically, you'll hear me say that a lot with like, if it's too filled, it's just too much. And because I feel like then it's overwhelming, right? Like, cause then I'll see like, there's all these things and they just might not be important, but it looks important because there's a lot in there, right? And I think that has to, again, do with me being very visual and seeing things. It's very, like, it can be a lot. I think that just goes back to me being very visual, and that's why I like to point it out, because like if it's too much, then it's overwhelming, and then I feel like I'm just not going to use it or avoid it, right? I don't know. And again, that just goes back to me being a very visual person, and this is just how I prefer to see things, right? So I have all of my lists, everything that I need to do, like right broken down to the day. And then I have an overview of what the week looks like. And then I also have the calendar. Because also one thing that I really like is that because my hourly is in here, I can flip back and forth between, I need to find those bookmarks because I hate flipping. This is why I do tabs and bookmarks. Let me, there we go. So if I need to like go back and forth between, okay, here's the overview, right? But here's what's like, what my calendar looks like. So I can do this here. I'm like going to the gym here. I can do my errands here. I don't want to miss this game. I'll make sure to do it before this time, right? Like they all work together, but it's an easy reference when my overview and like this like hourlies here, which is why I like having these two kind of together in a way. I'm also not missing any context. So if I were to take this to like, for example, when I work on my dissertation, I've been taking this planner, which is another reason why I want to bring my weekly overview in here, so that way I can reference it if needed. But if I want to like just take one planner, this has all my academic inserts in here that I'm referencing and using, but now I also have this in here. But if I need to reference something else on the go, it's in here. So it works well. So we have this. And so that's the main planner. And again, I'm just really happy to kind of be back in it. And then, like I said, this is my half letter, so it's supplemental. So we have, this is where I spend most of my time. If it's like my planner is open, it's always going to be on whatever day we're at, so I can write things down. I mentioned in, oh, sorry guys, the setup video that I don't pre-plan in here, because this is really just, I'm listing everything down. The only thing that really gets pre-planned is like when I'm putting in, okay, I have an appointment here, like this is going on here. different things like that. Or like the priorities, like I need to do this by this day, this needs to be done on this day. But like all these to-dos, they typically are done like during the day, because things also pop up, right? So I can easily just come in here when something pops up. I'm like, okay, I need to do this. Let me, you know, make sure I do that, and then I can check it throughout the day. So that is the bulk of this planner, or what I primarily use in this planner. And then I also have my notes and lists. So again, this is like it's my tactical supplemental. So that's the tactical piece, right? Supplemental because it supports other planners. And so I have, like I said, my academic inserts in here. I have all of my direct feedback from my committee that I printed out on my A5 paper and put it in here, but then I broke it down and put it in this planner. So again, it's a second view. So that way, when I'm working on it, it's supplemental, it's working with it, right? And I think this is the best way to kind of just show y'all. So I can come in here, I'll like pull it up based on wherever I'm at, and I can reference it, write things down, make notes and lists, and have both open if needed. And then I can also just, you know, do that, use both if needed. So that's where the supplemental part comes in. It complements what's going on in this planner. And then these are normally the overviews, and then this is normally those specific details, which you'll see we have here. So that is this notes and lists section. And then the last section here is the finance tab. I honestly think I'm going to, and I've been bouncing back and forth on where to put my expenses. I think I'm going to keep it in my A6, or use my A6 and take this part out for now, because I don't think it's, I don't know, I feel like it's just too large. I think that's what it is. I've tried doing A5, and I feel like these sizes are pretty comparable. This is just like shorter and I think slightly longer. But I think it's just too much space. Like, yeah, I have a lot of bills, unfortunately, but like I don't have this many bills. And so I only use like half the insert. Meanwhile on the A6, it doesn't, like that doesn't happen, right? So I think I'm gonna take this out, and then I might just use this as like general notes, or like I said, I have the cloth and paper sub box set up for half letter, and I think I'm gonna keep it that way. And so I'll probably just remove these, and then whatever comes in the next sub box, I'll probably just, I don't mind ignoring a tab, but I'll just not use it for finances, use it as a miscellaneous, and set, like use whatever I need there. So yeah, that is the half letter kind of thoughts on that, where it's currently at, where it might be going, but ultimately like how it works with the A5. And then with the A6 planner, so this is the reference planner. When it comes to frequency, I try to like update y'all on Instagram a lot. I use my A5, so anywhere my weekly schedule and my work schedule is, that's usually used daily, right? So like work, obviously I use this 5 times a week. I keep dropping that dang pen. I'm just gonna keep it on the ground. But like now I'll probably use this every single day, since my main weekly inserts are in here. The supplemental planner I use probably just as frequently, because I have all of those to-do lists in there, right? If those weren't in there, then I probably would use it a little bit less, but because it's supplemental, for the most part, I need it every day, especially when there's a lot to do. So I'd say it doesn't get used maybe as much as the A5, but throughout the week for sure. The weekends probably not so much. And then with my A6, this is usually just a 1 to 2 times a week, because it is reference. And so inside of here, I have my main inbox. So when I'm planning, I just like double check to see if there's anything that I can like take from the inbox, or that I need to work on for my inbox, because it's like long-term planning. I'll reference all of like the appointments and stuff that is going on, all the travel, because everything comes in this first, and then plan everything else out from there. And then the reference part, this is, during this video made this my content section, which I think I'm gonna keep this as my content section, since I'm hopefully getting better and more consistent at content for you guys. I feel like I've been doing a lot better, but I've also I'm in a better mental space to be back on like content creation, which I really like, because I love this so much. But now I feel like having a content section will probably help, since I'm getting better at it, at being an influencer. That having a content section will be better, or now I feel like having a content section in here makes more sense, since I'm more active again. So we have that. Again, that's something that might change. Everything's always subject to change. But the reference, this is where I spend most of the time. So I have like all of my lists in here: order tracker, wish list, trail list, spare list. This is where I have the expenses right now. And again, see where like, I still probably won't use the full page, but I feel like it's less of a waste, to be honest, because it's, you know, less lines. And so this is where I think it'll probably work out better, especially since I just need a general list. And if this is my reference planner, I don't need to use the finances that frequently, not really. I do paycheck budgeting, so for the most part, not even for the most part, I only update my bills and look at my finances twice a month whenever I get paid, because I do paycheck budgeting. And so I plan everything out for that. And now that I have most things like automatically coming out, I don't even really need to do that. It's usually like the beginning of the month. But I just need a quick reference of like what my expenses are and to keep track of them. So I think this will be, it makes sense to put in here. And I'm kind of talking myself into it again as I talk myself into a lot of things as I say things out loud, because I don't plan out my videos, which I probably should. And here I am talking about being back into content. I'm usually just looking at it and thinking about what comes to mind and then kind of pre-planning with y'all. So I'm talking myself into this right now as I go over it. So yeah, I think we're definitely gonna do that, because I think I just talked myself into it. So expenses, and then this is just general notes. So that is what's in this planner. A6, like I said, is perfect. And then also if I need to take this like somewhere around the house, so if I'm like talking with my husband about something, we wanna plan something out, it makes it easier just to have something smaller. Or if I just wanna take it with me, I can just close it up and take it. So we have that. That's also why I try to keep weekly inserts in here, but honestly, like I'm not planning out my weeks, I've noticed. It's why I stopped using my pocket, and my pocket's honestly just like a credit card holder at this point right now. Because I don't know, I don't plan really weekly on the go, I've noticed. So yeah, for the most part, like I just use my phone, and I think that's more common. And I've tried it just in case I need it, but I've noticed I just never really needed it. I do reference things though, so that does help. But yeah, other than that, that is an overview of my planner system. I feel like that was a lot. I feel like this is a long video, so I hope, thank you guys if you stuck around. But I feel like this really went into like details, which I'm actually really excited about. And I hope it's different than like the other flips. I try to make them different and try to like think of everything else that I can like mention or point out or add so that it helps others when it comes to planning. But yeah, this is what we currently are looking at for August, and I'm actually really happy about it. So other than that, that is going to be it for this video. Thank you guys so much for watching.